guys, it's Rachel here, and today I'm going to be filming for you guys my top books of 2014. This year I read a total of, I think, 72 or 73 books. My reading goal for the year was 80 books, and I was able to reach it. I had a lot of things going on here at the end, towards the end of the year, which was what I expected, so I didn't get to reach my full goal, but it still did an amazing job. This year I blew my last year's goal way out of the water, so I'm really proud of myself. I read a lot of my favorite books that I've ever read in my lifetime this year. I changed my feelings towards books this year. I just had a really good reading year, in my opinion. So today I'm just going to show you guys some of my favorite books that I read this year. And yeah, these are not going to be in any particular order, except for maybe the last three. They're probably my top 3 of the year. Also, not all of these books were published this year, so just bear that in mind when you're watching this. I read them all this year, but they weren't necessarily published this year, although a lot of them were. So let's just go ahead and get this started. So the first book I'm going to talk to you about is actually a graphic novel, and that's going to be Saga, the entirety of the Saga series by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. This is just the first volume. There are currently 4 volumes in publication, and the 4th volume just came out on December 23rd. This follows our 2 main characters, Elena and Marco, and they are both from different worlds. One is from a planet and one is from a moon, I believe, that are at war. And Marco is a prisoner of war and Elena is a soldier, and they fall in love and break out and end up having this child that they did not even know was possible to even have, and now everybody is kind of after them. So this is kind of like a Romeo and Juliet story. Now this is a very mature graphic novel series. There is some sex at times in here and some graphic violence, but it is so fantastic. It is like a space opera fantasy. It is so wonderful. This is probably my favorite graphic novel next to The Walking Dead. I absolutely love this, and the artwork is just seriously so amazing. Like, oh my god, the artwork is awesome. But this is really good, and I highly recommend this guy if you guys want a fun, fast-paced, mature graphic novel. The next book on my list is going to be a book that was actually published this year, and that's going to be Of Scars and Stardust by Andrea Hanna. Now, I received this as an e-galley on NetGalley. I requested it when about a month before it came out, because it was getting a lot of hype and I wanted to see what the buzz was about, and I was elated when I saw that I was approved for it, and I read it. And this is the first time that I have ever personally emailed an author to let them know just how much I loved their book. I follow Andrea Hanna on Twitter. I follow her on her Facebook page. I absolutely adore Andrea Hanna, and I absolutely adored this book. This is a very difficult book to explain, and I think that when you're reading this book, it's best to go into it not really knowing what's going on, similar to We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. If you liked We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, I really think that you would enjoy this. Plus, it's quite a bit longer, so you'll get more out of it than maybe out of We Were Liars. But it is so fantastic. This is a very beautifully written, eerie, creepy book with an unreliable narrator, and I absolutely love books with unreliable narrators, and I just absolutely love this book so much. To give you kind of a vague synopsis, follows the main character named Claire. Claire has, after some events that happen in the town that she is from, Anvil, Ohio, she moves away to Manhattan to kind of start her life over, and then we find out that her sister has gone missing, and so she goes back home to face her demons and subsequently to find her sister. Now this again is a very vague synopsis, but I really think that if you like creepy, eerie, unreliable narrator stories, that you would really enjoy this, and I really recommend you guys pick this up. I absolutely love this. Like I said, I loved it so much that I emailed Andrea herself, and I bought a physical copy of it just to show my support for her, because I absolutely love this book. The next book on my list is going to be Love Letters to the Dead by Ava De La Ria. Now, it's been a while since I read this book, and I believe that this was published this year as well, and this is a very interesting concept on a book, which is why I think that I loved it as much as I did. This follows our main character who his sister has died, and she is trying to kind of cope with the fact that her sister has died. On top of that, in her school, her English teacher has essentially given her this assignment to write letters to people that have died. And rather than to send letters to people like Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, she chooses to write them to people that have died young and tragic lives. For example, Janis Joplin, Amelia Earhart, River Phoenix, Kurt Cobain, the likes of them. This was extremely beautifully written. I loved how it was told in diary-ish journal format. I really liked the love interest in here. I liked the overall message in the book. I really liked this book. It's got a beautiful cover, which is one thing that I absolutely love about it, and the spine is beautiful. But if you really enjoy sad contemporary books, then I think that you would really enjoy this. I personally really loved it, and I recommend it to somebody who really likes sad contemporaries. The next book on the list is going to be A Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson, and this was also a release this year, and I picked this up because Riley read it and she absolutely loved it. So first off, let's just talk about how beautiful this book is and how there's an awesome map on the cover of it. This pretty much follows a main character who has been betrothed to the king or the prince of another kingdom, and she ain't having that. So she hatches a plan to run away with one of her maid servants, and they do, and so she gets away. And then it also follows two other main characters, an assassin that has been sent to kill our princess, and the scorned prince that is gone to find her. And when we meet these characters, we don't know who is who. Their characters are assassin and prince, and we don't know who is who, and the main character doesn't know who is who. I will say that I did not expect, I was wrong. I was wrong on who was who. I was really sure that I knew who was the prince and who was the assassin, but I was wrong, and I was so upset about it. But I absolutely loved The Kiss of Deception. It was such a fun, fast-paced read, and I just can't wait for The Heart of Betrayal to come out. And I'm really excited about it, and this was such a fun fantasy read, and I highly recommend it if you want a fun fantasy read that's got that you don't know who is who in it. I really recommend that. The next two books are going to kind of go together, and they're going to be Angel Fall and World After by Susan E. I read these both this year. I don't think Angel Fall was published this year, but I'm pretty sure World After was published this year. And I received Angel Fall for my birthday from Max from Well Done Books, and then finished it and needed to have World After. So basically this follows our main character named Penryn, and Penryn lives in a post-apocalyptic world where angels have come down and just destroyed everything. Penryn is just trying to survive with her mom, who is schizophrenic, and her sister Paige, who is in a wheelchair. Now, one day they are escaping, and pretty much there is a fight on the ground between some fallen angels, and one angel's wings are cut off, and you just know better than to get in the middle of a fight with angels, especially because you know they're the ones that brought on the destruction of the world. And Paige unfortunately makes a little bit of a noise, and the angels take Paige away. And then Penryn decides to help this fallen angel, Rafi, to get back to where he's from so that she can get her sister back. So it's kind of they're together for two different reasons. One is to go back, get his wings back, and the other is to get her sister back. This was such a fun, immersive read. I really enjoyed these. I can't wait for the third book to come out, and hopefully it comes out in May of next year. I really hope it does, because I'm really looking forward to it. These are fun, dark, morbid reads that are probably not going to be for everybody, but I absolutely love them. I also think that I enjoy these a lot more because of the fact that I know quite a bit about angels and demons and whatnot, so I think that added a little bit of a kick in here for me. But I really enjoyed these, and I think that if you enjoy books like that, you will really enjoy these too, and that's why they both made it onto my top books of 2014. And now we are on to the top 3 books of the year. These are not in any particular order, but these are just the 3 books of the year that I loved more than any other books that I read this year. So at number 3 of the top 3 books is going to be The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. And this is the first book in the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson, and this was my introduction to Brandon Sanderson. So I picked this up and I absolutely loved this. Now, it's a huge book. This has got about 650 pages in it, but it is so well worth the read and so fast-paced and amazing. This is kind of hard to explain what this is about, but this pretty much is a world where the Dark Ruler has won and the kingdom is just living in oppression and fear of the Dark Lord. And then we get this one group of characters pretty much want to overthrow the Dark Ruler. So we have 2 main characters. We have Kelsier and we have Vin, and they are both Mistborn. And essentially what this means is that they swallow little vials of metals and they're able to burn them to do different things, like having better eyesight, better hearing. They can jump faster, run further, and they are both Mistborn. Along with being Mistborn, there are also Mistings, where they are able to swallow 1 vial of any metal and burn 1 metal at a time, whereas Mistborn can swallow all metals and burn multiple metals at a time. You also, and the form of magic is called allomancy. This is just absolutely so incredible. I loved this book. There are a lot of characters in here, but so well written that I think it's so worth it. Kelsier is probably one of my favorite characters of all time. I love his storyline. I love Kelsier as a whole. But like I said, this is so good, and I highly recommend this to fantasy lovers everywhere. The next book on my list is going to be Finnegan of the Rock by Marlena Marchetta. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this book because I do have a review coming up for it, because I loved it that much that I needed to do a review on it, pretty much. But this pretty much follows our main character named Finnegan, and Finnegan is, this follows 10 years after the 5 Days of the Unspeakable, which were this event that happened that was pretty much these people came in and assassinated the entirety of the royal family, and a different king, the cousin of the king, has come in to rule, and they call him the Imposter King. Now, Finnegan is going on this quest to bring together the exiles of Lumitere to come together to one land or get back to Lumitere. I don't really consider this young adult because there are some extremely mature themes in this book, but it is so good. Like, you guys, it's so good. Like, this also houses one of my favorite characters of all time, Evangeline. She is one of my favorite female characters of all time. She is absolutely kick-ass, absolutely amazing, and I absolutely love Finnegan of the Rock. If you guys want a fun, fast-paced, and I'm talking fast-paced read, then I highly recommend Finnegan of the Rock for anybody out there. And finally, probably maybe my favorite book of the year, but definitely in the very highs of the books up there, On the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. This is a World War II story set in Paris. This follows a main character named Marie-Laure and another main character named Werner. Werner is a Nazi youth, and Marie-Laure is a young girl that goes blind at a very young age. And pretty much how their stories go throughout World War II and how they eventually cross paths. Now, this is so good. Of all the adult fiction that I've read this year, this is so memorable to me. The writing style was absolutely beautiful. The way that it skips back and forth between time periods is amazing. Like, you're getting different years, and each time he does it, each time Anthony Doerr goes between time periods, you're just like, oh my god, no, I'm ready for that whatever thing to happen, but then you've got to go back or forward to get to where you are. It was a very emotional read for me. I didn't cry, and there's an event that happens in here that I wish wouldn't have happened, but I understand why it happened. So good. So I highly recommend All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. It's such a beautiful read, and absolutely maybe my top book of the year. So yes, those are all the top books that I have this year for 2014. I am excited for the new year. I'm excited to see where 2015 takes me. Yes, I'm excited to see how 2015 goes, and thank thanks for being a part of this year with me, you guys. Thanks so much for commenting, liking, and subscribing, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!